Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another another live stream, another week of fantasy football over. We're now officially in week 14. Season's moving quick. Season's moving fast.
This is do or die time. We've officially made it. If this week is not the beginning of the fantasy playoffs, which it should be, then it's do or die time. Well, it should be next week.
Let me
rephrase that. Yes, I agree.
You should not have any fantasy playoffs this week because there's a bye week still because of the new 18-game season.
There's one alternative, and I guess maybe it makes a little bit more sense to do in week 18, but also really not. Is if you ultimately make championship week a 2-week stretch, which I know some leagues do, where weeks 16 and 17 are like a combined championship week.
Okay.
I
haven't seen that been done before.
It's not default. It's not traditional, right? It's still very much along, as we continue to progress in new ways of thinking how to play fantasy football. That is one of them that I think has grown a little slower than others, but I've still seen it. So there is that. However, the traditional way of doing things, the thing that I think most people are accustomed to and at this point would probably still continue to want to do, is a 1-week championship, just like the rest of the weeks of fantasy. Therefore, yes, if that's the case, which I have to imagine is 99% of our listeners, if not all of them, week 15 should be the beginning of the playoffs, which means this is the last week of the regular season. And like I said, it is do or die time.
Yeah, it's put up or shut up. A lot of you guys are probably in at least one league, if not multiple, already either clinched for the playoffs or completely out of the playoffs, depending on how many you're in. And a lot of people are fighting for that last spot this week. And I mean, this past Sunday was an eventful day in terms of what it means for the roadmap for a lot of teams moving forward. A lot of injuries on Sunday. So that is always unfortunate. We got a Kenneth Walker injury. We got a Lamar Jackson injury. We got a Jimmy Garoppolo injury. I mean, a lot of repercussions. So where do you want to start it off?
So real quickly, just what's going on, everybody? If you guys already know the drill. We'll get to every question or comment. And we see everything in there, so cool to see. That being said, I guess I would start with Garoppolo because, yes, in one quarterback leagues, he himself is not, the pinnacle or the start of a conversation most of the time, but it matters in Superflex, and it matters to a lot of very key, important skill position players as it stands anyway.
Yes, it does.
So I think it makes sense to go there first. First with Garoppolo, his fantasy season is over.
Yes. Yep.
So
he is out for the next 6 to 7 weeks.
Yeah. Even in Superflex redraft leagues, he can be dropped. For Brock Purdy, even. Because it's not going to be Baker Mayfield. He got claimed by the Rams. Another story entirely. So it's going to be Brock Purdy moving forward. For Christian McCaffrey, I don't think this hurts him.
This doesn't change much. He was getting an 82% snap share, usage share last week.
Yeah.
This doesn't matter for him.
If anything, they might hand the ball off to him more.
Could be.
Dump it off to him.
Could be.
More, So if you have Christian McCaffrey and you're wondering what this means for him, I wouldn't be worried too much. it's a little bit more concerning for the skill position guys, right? It's a little more concerning. Again, Debo's got a bit of a buffer as that dual threat, wide back, right? Debo's a little safer.
Now Ayuk still maintained his usage floor. He still had a 9-target week last week. So to me, Ayuk still maintains a solid floor that I'm willing to go back to. For Kittle, it makes him a whole lot more boom bust, with probably more bust weeks than boom weeks coming in the future. He was already a boom bust tight end. He didn't really give you much in the way of a middle ground. It was, 20 to 30 points or 2 to 5 points. Yeah. Now that is, the ceiling is going to go down. The volatility is going to stay, probably with more bust weeks than boom weeks in there. Just so that sucks for him. But as far as your analysis on the rest of the skill position players, I'd say it's spot on.
Yeah, with
Jordan
Kittle,
Mason looks like he's the RB2 in this offense. I wasn't expecting that. We were kind of speculating maybe we'd see
Tevin Coleman,
TDP, Tevin Coleman, something like that. But no, it was Jordan Mason picking up the vast majority of the snaps behind Christian McCaffrey, who, like I said, got 82% of the work. So it's not a lot of work for Jordan Mason, but he is the clear-cut number 2 in that offense moving forward. So interesting.
Some of that could have been as a result of the injury as well. Like let's put a bruiser in there, like a guy who can just kind of churn out some yards a little bit to help out the backup
that's not going
quarterback.
To change for the rest of the fantasy season.
And he showed that he, at the very least, needs a permanent role in the offense. To what degree? I don't know. But yeah, he's on let's call him on the RB format for now.
Yes.
In your typical league.
And Brock Purdy, low end QB2, but he did throw for I think over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. So he does come with some QB2 upside. But the upside for those low-end QB1 weeks that Jimmy Garoppolo is pretty much giving you every week, not there.
Yeah, for the fantasy playoffs, at least starting week 14, home against Tampa Bay, on the road on a short week in Seattle. That's a division opponent. I would be a little worried about that. Week 16, Washington. Week 17 on the road in Vegas. It's actually not that bad of a schedule, but you are playing in that same group. A bunch of teams that are still competing for the playoffs. So you're not going to get a ton of cupcakes. Now, Miami is a good team as well, and he did well against them. But, yeah, he's going to be tough to trust. He'll be in the QB 20-ish, 24-ish conversation for the rest of the season.
And moving to other offenses that did take hits in terms of injuries that we're dealing with before we get to the chat. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, PCL strain, looks to be a 2 to 3 week injury. Last year, Zach Wilson sustained the same injury, and he was out from, I think, weeks 8 till week 11. So 3-week absence, should be back in 3 weeks, if not less. I doubt they really push him because he's their franchise player and the entirety of their offense, but in his stead, Tyler Huntley will come in, be a strong QB2 with some QB1, low-end QB1 upside, downgrade for everybody in the offense. But who are you really trusting in this offense besides Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews anyway? It's a little bit of a boost, I would say, for the running backs, but
possibly.
And honestly, with the way that Tyler Huntley keys in on his tight end over every other position group, you can look at the splits last year. You remember, Mark Andrews had better weekly totals with Tyler Huntley than he did with Lamar Jackson, just because Tyler Huntley zeroed in on him so much. So Mark Andrews stays about the same. Everybody else in the offense, I'm not really touching unless I need a QB2, in which case I'm going for Tyler Huntley.
Sure.
I'd rather have Tyler Huntley over Baker Mayfield, John Warford. I guess Baker Mayfield takes his spot over Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
So that about covers the Ravens, and then the Seahawks sustained a bunch of running back injuries.
Sorry, I might prefer Purdy a little bit. Just again, it keeps defaulting back to the 49ers have a deeper collection of talent, but you're kind of splitting hairs. So I guess I guess I would just say we are split on who we prefer as a QB2. But I'm not talking drastic differences.
Yeah, it's just Tyler Huntley has a sustained track record of being able to maintain
Huntley's done
QB2 and low end QB1 upside. Purdy, we have one game.
Well. Yeah, Huntley played well last year. That's obviously a big feather in his cap.
Yep. But the Seahawks sustained a bunch of running back injuries. Kenneth Walker reportedly has an uncommon strain in the small area of his ankle, and it's not a longer-term issue like a high ankle sprain, but it is a sprain. So he is going to be out for at least probably a week, but it is a shorter-term absence, and it doesn't look like his explosiveness is really going to be lacking once he comes back. But DJ Dallas also sustained an injury, so they couldn't rely on him. So they signed Wayne Gallman. They're going to make a bunch of moves for probably a 1 week absence for Kenneth Walker, but he should be okay for the fantasy playoffs as long as you're starting in week 15, not week 14. But yeah, that pretty much covers it as far as the injuries. I might be missing some injury here or there. I think that covers about all of them. But that is the big news from this past weekend.
Yeah, I can't think of any others off of the top of my head. If there are any I mean, Josh Jacobs is always questionable, but also they're on a short week this week. I guess we'll see what happens with Joe Mixon.
I think Josh Jacobs is just they're just
it's load management. It's just maintenance for
right.
For 2021's rest of season RB1.
And I think Joe Mixon will be back. They said they had some concerns over whether or not he would be back early in the week, but
should clear concussion protocol.
He should be fine. Yeah, he should be fine.
Hayden Hurst doubtful for week 14.
Yep.
Treylon Burke suffered a concussion. Let's just go ahead and assume he's out week 14. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think that's really all of note. It was just some high-profile players. Lamar Jackson, Kenneth Walker, some high-profile players did get affected last week. So, just to go over that real quick before we get into the chat, looks like we got some questions in there. But is there anything else you wanted to bring up? Go over some waiver wire stashes before we get into the chat, or did you just want to jump into the chat?
Yeah, I mean, we can jump in. I think it's kind of razor thin at this point with the running backs because DJ Dallas is kind of like he's not a clear cut like spend all your fob pickup. You know what I mean?
No, I mean if Cam Akers is out there, I definitely am interested in Cam Akers. If James Cook is out there, I'm interested in James Cook.
He may already be gone, but
he might be gone. Jordan Mason, I'm willing. If I have an extra spot, I'm willing to take a stab on Jordan Mason. Jerick McKinnon did well last week.
McKinnon had 2 catches for a score. He also chipped in 51 rushing yards on the ground on 8 carries. Really good efficiency there.
Mm-hmm. Zonovan Knight's already picked up. Greg Dulcich probably picked up. Jameson Williams did absolutely nothing, but maybe you expect that role to grow. I don't know if I do. I think I'm just swerving and picking up DJ Chark, who had almost an 100-yard game last week. Mm-hmm. So it really depends. But yeah, there's not a bunch of clear-cut options on the waiver wire. A bunch of ancillary options this week that have some rest of season viability.
Yeah, maybe. But I think with that said, I think we can go ahead and go to these questions. Appreciate everybody's patience.
Absolutely. Nemo, what's happening?
What's happening, Nemo?
Randy, we don't cover DFS, but if you want to throw your question in the chat anyways, I mean, you might be able to crowdsource some people who do answer DFS from in the chat. Maybe you'll get some answers from some people. I mean, if it's something that we can answer, we will, but it's not something that we typically cover.
Yeah, I can give you my thoughts, like based on whatever the guy's cost is and what a roster like resource allocation, all that stuff. But admittedly, that it is not a field that we cover just yet here, where we would actually advertise it. Just full disclosure.
And Notorious, that is bad luck, but hey, at least you're 13-0 in your other league. I'd like to know who's on your team in that league where you're 13-0. Congratulations, but 6-7 with 6 players on bye is tough.
6-7's not even a bad record. I mean,
No,
obviously, you're not. It's not great, but in most scenarios, when you're 6-7, you're not into the final week of the season or 5-6. What as recently as 2 years ago, you're not dead. Like,
are you sure you're out of the playoff picture? Is there like a 10% chance that you can still make it or something like that? So just double check that. Double check that.
Could be a lot of 8 and 5 teams, a lot of 7. Like, just
yeah.
I mean, actually, there's a situation where I'm 7-6. This is a work league, $40 buy-in, like not super significant, but obviously, still a little bit of interest. I'm 7-6 and in 7th place, so I'm very clearly like still alive for the playoffs. But I have a winning record, and currently I'm on the outside looking in. It's weird, It's not, you don't expect that. Those are outlier seasons, right? 9 times out of 10, that's going to be good enough for you. 6-7 anyway is good enough for you to be in the hunt going into the final week, or it should be.
It should be. Yeah. If you're 2 above 500 and you don't make the playoffs, you're playing in a strong league.
It's a strong league, or just a wacky league that year.
Yeah. But who's in your 13 or no league? Who's on your team? I want to know. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do you get extra in that league just from being 13 or no, or based off of total points or record or something like that? Let us know. Nemo, Waller worth the stash, thinking you could come back hot over the last 2 to 3 weeks, especially with that schedule. My only problem is he wasn't doing all that great when he was healthy early in the year. And now Mac Hollins has established himself coming off a 9-target game. Foster Moreau's been good, even though he's a little bit banged up himself.
I mean, you can pick him up, but you can't rely on him week 15 when they're saying his most recent update is that he may return in week 15. That was just actually 15 minutes ago from RotoWire. Waller may return week 15. So obviously you don't have him this week. He might return next week. Even if he does, I'm not playing him, or I'm not advocating that anybody plays him. You know my rule. I don't like playing guys first week back. And then he has 2 tough matchups to end the season. Now, Waller traditionally is matchup proof, right? When he's healthy, he's established enough at this point where you're firing him up and hoping for the best. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to trust him these last 2 weeks of the season, with all the time that he has missed. We haven't seen him since week 5?
Yeah. Yep. And so, the last 2 matchups.
It's tough to endorse him.
The last 2 matchups.
Tight end 12, I guess.
Week 16 at Pittsburgh, they give up the 20th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends, and then San Fran gives up the least. They give up 6.21 fantasy points to opposing tight ends on a week-to-week basis through 13 weeks. That's not a matchup I want in the fantasy championship.
Nah.
So are you unless you're down bad? You're not going to start him in the last 2 weeks. Or at least you don't want to.
Or maybe you had Hayden Hurst. Then it's like, all right, whatever.
Right.
Because I have to find something. I have to look for an alternative. Yeah, hard to endorse Waller at this point.
Yep. Yeah, weird how his season has gone. And basically... it kind of just feels like his career's derailed. Maybe he's hit that cliff, the age cliff. I don't know.
Is he like 30? Like 31?
He's 30. He's 31. 30 going on 31. Tight ends do well after that age, especially the elite athletic ones. I just don't. Maybe he's a play for next year as just a sleeper later round pick. Than where you could have gotten him this year, but I don't know if he's a play for the rest of the year. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with that, and this just you wonder if injuries have taken their toll on for a player who relies on elite athleticism.
Yep.
We'll see. Topic
and I mean, the impact of Devontae Adams in that offense.
Yeah,
he is not the number 1 in that offense moving forward. He was when Devontae Adams was not here. He was the number 1.
He's the 3rd overall option because Josh Jacobs is in the backfield having a career season.
Where he was probably the first option in that attack, a year ago.
Yeah.
And Joe Harris Hey, glad we could help. Glad we could help. 7 and 6.
Yep,
and you're in the 6th spot. Hopefully you can stay there or move up a little bit. You can move into 2nd or 3rd place. Love to see it. You have 2 defenses, KC and the Jets. The bye week here. Would you drop the Jets?
So I'm just looking at the whole team.
Chino, CMC, Pacheco, Gibson, Perrine, Tyreek, Metcalf, Gabe Davis, Watson, Pittman, Schultz, DPJ, KC, and NYJ.
I'd probably go
get an
either
RB?
James Cook or Akers. Yeah, just if this is looking pretty, this looks pretty balanced.
I'd get Akers. I wouldn't get James Cook. I'd be trying to get Akers.
Yeah, I worry that backfield just like is unpredictably flip-flops back and forth each week or something like that.
He got 70% of the work, and that offense, I mean, who are they going to flip-flop to?
Kyron Williams. He had a bad game last week. He had a good game the week before. I think you could do either one. I prefer the player on the better team at this point. I would prefer James Cook.
The only thing that scares me there is the team did just go out and trade draft capital to bring in Nyheim Hines. And then over the last 2 games, really haven't used him yet. Maybe that is just an acclimation to the offense thing. But he's still in a 3-headed committee. Now it looks like he is emerging as the number 2 option, or maybe even the 1B to Singletary. But especially on a team like the Bills with Josh Allen, who can vulture on the goal line, Akers has 2 touchdown upside. Cooks, I don't know. Like, you're hoping he gets 1. Like, I feel like he's gonna be a running back that leaves you with 60 points, where the yards per carry is good, but the ending box score probably isn't.
I don't know that Akers has 2 touchdown upside in that offense.
Didn't he just get 2 touchdowns?
He got them. Yeah.
So what do you? So he has 2 touchdown upside.
I don't think he does every week. I really don't. I just a rule of thumb that I kind of just stick to for better or worse is I'll roll. And this is a waiver wire pickup. This is not like a backbreaking decision for your lineup. I just give me running back depth on good teams. That's just what I prefer. Give me the player on the better team. So I would prefer James Cook. That's just me.
Normally, I'd be right there with you. I don't know. Maybe
keep in mind, the Rams are playing on Thursday night this week, right? What do we often see with backfields on teams playing on short weeks? They flip the script in the backfield to keep their guys fresh, to maximize opportunities and prevent.
Look, I mean, you're not this. Joe is not going to be in a place where he needs to play this guy. He's got CMC and Pacheco, and then Gibson would probably be ahead of him right now, even with Brian Robinson surging. And then you got Perrine, who, honestly, it's a flip of a coin whether you would want Perrine or Akers. It's just you want another running back in there.
Yeah.
I guess if you want just the ready-made piece that is Akers, if you want somebody with a little bit more upside, Singletary could go down over the next few weeks, in which case James Cook would be the RB1 for a much better team. So yeah, if you want a stash that has more upside, go with James Cook. If you want a stash that is pretty ready-made, you kind of what you see is what you get, Cam Akers is fine. Either one I'm fine with. Considering you're not going to have to really play any of these guys, and it really is just a depth signing for you, for your RB5, I'm fine with either, depending on which way you want to go. But hey, good luck, man. Good luck. I hope you get to that 2nd or 3rd place.
Let's clinch that playoff spot. And I would imagine, Richie, let us know if you didn't hear us, but we pretty much answered that question.
In full
We're on
PPR,
different sides of the coin. In full PPR, my answer is the same. I mean, I just prefer James.
You look at what Cam Akers has done.
You prefer Akers? Yeah, I mean,
over the last 3 weeks, 1 reception, or 1 target, even over the last 3 weeks. Even though over the last 3 weeks, the usage on the ground has been good. Akers.
Oh, Akers. Okay, that makes sense. The Rams don't really throw that much to their running backs.
But 14 rushes and 17 rushes in 2 out of the last 3 weeks. he's not a bad pickup. But I guess, yes, if you need more upside and want to just play if this guy gets injured, this guy gets more work moving forward game, then go James Cook. Otherwise, I think Akers is fine for a RB3 pickup for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And Nemo, I'll tell you no. I'll tell you no
as well.
like Pittman got 2 points, fantasy points last week, and now they're on a bye. I think Pittman comes right back in week 15 and is fine. And Alec Pierce is doing well himself. I'm not gonna bet on Jelani Woods for my playoff stretch. Basically, love the prospect, love the player. Not doing that. Alex, good to see you. What up?
What's happening, Alex?
Need to win to make the playoffs. QBs are Watson, Rodgers in a 1 QB league. Then you're starting Rodgers.
The Packers are on bye.
The
Packers are on bye.
There's the question.
Watson is on the road in Cincinnati. Now he has a game under his belt officially.
I'd want Goff then.
Are the Lions at home? The Lions aren't at home. I'm not touching Goff with a 10-foot pole. They're at home against Minnesota. Yeah, Goff. I would go Goff.
Yeah,
I think we need to see a little bit more from Watson.
Yep.
Who? Goff?
Yeah.
He had 340 and 2. That's not
last week's pointage. Never mind.
Yeah, the point. Goff is playing his 3rd straight game at home. They haven't traveled for a couple of weeks. He's gonna be well rested. He gets to sleep in his bed for almost a month straight.
Boom.
Goff.
Yeah. Go with Goff.
I need to see a little bit more from Watson. I was worried about him going into the week due to rust, and I'd say that came into fruition with some of those throws he made. We need to see a little bit more from Deshaun.
And do you prioritize running back or QB? You got Rashad White and Pacheco, and you have Gabe Davis, who isn't a bad flex play, playing in your flex. I want the best quarterback that I can play.
Yeah.
So I want to be prioritizing Goff. Now this is a 1 week pickup because you do have Rodgers and Watson, and I do expect Watson to get better as the season goes on. It's just I was also expecting a better outing for week 1. Didn't materialize. So Goff 1 week play, and considering you have Taylor, Montgomery, and Dillon on bye, and Rashad White, Pacheco, you don't need to prioritize a running back who would be your RB6.
Agreed.
And to skip to that last comment there, and then we'll go right back up to Notorious. Also, which defense? You have the Chiefs and the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm playing the Chiefs rest of season. They get Russell Wilson this week. That's all I need to know. I know they're on the road, but I don't care. Seattle. Seattle. Oh no, they're on the road. They have the short week next week.
Looking at Seattle's matchups for the rest of the year. Give me a sec.
Seattle's got Carolina at home this week. That's pretty good.
It is.
Pretty good.
I just want to see what their schedule is for the rest of the year.
It's not as good as Kansas City's. They get week 15, San Francisco at home on a short week. On the road in Kansas City, week 16. You already know.
Jets at home.
Jets week 17, which is, they have future Pro Bowler Mike White. So, I would. It's Kansas City. I would prefer to have Kansas City.
Yep.
So I would probably drop Seattle to make a move.
And Casey at Denver this week, fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I would too. Now, do you hold on to Watson or do you just pick up Goff? Are you at all comfortable playing Watson if he has a good game in the fantasy playoffs?
Who, me?
If he has a good game this week, if you were Alex,
and
you had Watson and Rodgers, and you're picking up Goff for this week.
I'm picking up Goff for this week, but I'm dropping him next week because he's on the road. Like, I'm picking up Goff to win this week. And
Right.
again, this is a must-win week, right? Need a win to make
But
the
the question is, Watson, if you're picking up Goff for this week, you're not playing Watson.
Right.
And then you go right back to Rodgers.
You could.
Do you need Watson? Or do you pick up somebody else? Or do you hold on to Goff and drop Watson next week? Like,
Watson, week 15 of the playoffs, we can play this game, is at home against Baltimore. That's pretty good. Rodgers gets the Rams on Monday night, then two plus matchups in Miami and against Minnesota. I would carry all 3 quarterbacks because I'm going to drop Goff next week anyway. Then I still have Rodgers and Watson to make a choice between. Because if the Packers get eliminated, we already have heard Aaron Rodgers say he'd be open to discussions of letting the team get a look at Jordan Love. So if the Packers get eliminated, which could happen over the next 2 weeks, because the Vikings can clinch the NFC North this week with a win. That's how close Rodgers is close to elimination. Then you can safely drop him once you know that he's no longer playing. But I would drop the defense this week. Just carry all 3 quarterbacks. Goff goes this week for you, Alex. Then he's an immediate drop ahead of week 15 for whatever you want next week. And we'll go from there between Watson and Rodgers.
I know you don't like Goff week 15 because he's going to the Jets, and the Jets have an underrated defense. But then he goes to Carolina, again on the road, but it's Carolina, and then Chicago at home. So those last 2 matchups for Goff really aren't bad.
They're bad because he's on the road. Like, I'm serious. I'm not even trying. Like, week 17, sure, you could think about picking him up again. Week 15 and 16, no way. Just because he's on the road.
Fair.
But I would carry all 3 quarterbacks this week in favor of 2 defenses.
There you go. All right, and then back up to Notorious's question. You have a 2% chance of making the playoffs, and in your 13-0 league,
the odds are long.
Hey, stranger things have happened. So I'm still trying to play for a win in that league just to see if I can make that 2% turn into 100%. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yep. Liam, good to see you. Juju, DJ, Hollywood, Pacheco, or Lat Murray in the flex.
I mean, it's got to be Pacheco at this point. I guess Hollywood has an argument, but I mean, Pacheco's on the road in Denver, and that is a tough matchup by the numbers. But I don't know that we can ignore what he's doing at this point.
No, I like DJ Moore as well too, but Pacheco's the clear-cut guy here.
DJ Moore is good as well. The Panthers they're on the road against Seattle. That's a little tougher. Hollywood is at home against the Patriots.
No, I want the mid-tier RB2 with RB1 upside over the wide receiver 2s with mid-tier wide receiver 2 upside. So Pacheco.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good on Pacheco as well. Hollywood does have like a bit of an argument for me at home. And maybe Liam, let me marinate on this for the rest of the week. If you have availability over the weekend, we do start sit live streams. But Pacheco would be my answer today. I think he's kind of on a heater at this point.
And Tony, I would go Goff and then Huntley and then or I would just go Goff. If I need somebody for next week, it's Goff, then Huntley, then Watson, just because we really didn't see much from Watson to really.
No, not enough.
Yeah, not to start him not to start him next week.
No, Goff at home, you can play.
Yep. Hey, Greg Z, hope all's well with you too.
What's happening, Greg?
In your one league, you're locked into the playoffs. However, you had Lamar. QB options are Dak, Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Huntley, and Mike White. If Dak gets scooped up, who would be the best option?
Carr.
Yeah.
Carr.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 2 elite weapons to work with, right? Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams. These other guys can't say that they have like 2 elite players to work with. Even Dak.
I'm
Well,
willing to
okay,
spend all my
sorry, the
fab
run-
to get
yeah,
Dak if that's, if you will run
Yeah,
off a
sure.
fab league. Just, it's the last week of the season. You need a quarterback. Even though you're locked into the playoffs, like, what are you really going to be spending that fab on?
I would honestly, I think I would. Yeah, I guess so. Dak's got 2 great matchups and 2 terrible matchups by the numbers. Although both of those bad matchups are at home. So yeah, I guess Dak would be first priority, but Carr would be fine as a consolation prize.
And Dak is somebody that you can be playing over the next few weeks. It's not, yes, Lamar, the 1-for-1 Huntley switch. Yes.
You could play him all
Dak,
4 weeks.
Huh?
You could play Dak play Dak the remaining 4 weeks of the season.
You really could. So I'm spending all my fab to get Dak. If not, the best option is Derek Carr. And notorious, your keepers were Waddle, Amon-Ra, and Mooney, so 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Got you. Good
Mooney,
keepers.
I had Mooney as a keeper and Swerve. Maybe not at the last minute, but within probably the final week before declaring, I was like, nah, I can't go with this guy. I was intrigued by him, but I was like, I need a better option to move into the season with. So I made a trade.
I liked him a lot coming into the year, but yeah, we saw how that ended. Yeah. And hey, Tim, is Perrine still worth keeping? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until we get definitive news over Mixon, yes, and even with Mixon, I want him as a handcuff. Excuse me.
Or just even if you don't have Mixon, but if you have Samaje, insurance.
Yeah.
Just a running back who I think proved he deserves maybe even. You're not gonna seed work from Mixon, but Pirine needs to remain involved.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. What's the difference between Perrine at this point and Alexander Mattison? Not much. Perrine has shown more juice this year. So I want Perrine.
Yeah. As far as Nemo's thoughts on Waller, I won't tell you not to pick. I mean, first of all, who are you dropping, right? That's our favorite first question, right? Who are you dropping to make room? Or I mean, I guess you can add him as an optional, or you don't have to drop anybody if he's still IR eligible. I guess that would work. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't play him week 15, which is his first game back. That's all. That would be a decision that you have to make if you actually want to start him. I would not advise it. And then let's see how we're feeling week 16. If he does in fact make his return week 15, then again, we see how he does. If you want to pick him up, sure. If you want to start him, I'm not week 16 at the earliest for me.
And there's a difference between Waller and Kittle. I mean, Waller, yes, he was banged up, but when he was playing, he was still a top 3 option. It's just he got banged up. Waller, when healthy this year, has not been a top 3 option like he was advertised. Not even a top 5 option. Far from it, actually. So they're and they're just in different spots in their career too. Waller's 3 years older than Kittle. So that type of stuff does matter. Tony, yes, we like Garrett Wilson and we like Godwin. Who do you want in the flex?
Godwin.
Godwin's safer, but I want to play both of them. They're very close for me. Now Garrett Wilson does get Buffalo, so tough matchup. But the last time he played Buffalo, he was the one wide receiver to do anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Godwin first out of respect of
It's Godwin,
but
it's
Wilson
close.
Wilson is looking very good with Mike White in as the starting quarterback.
And then Bam Knight or Leonard Fournette. Wow. Bam Knight.
Who are they playing?
The Bills.
The Jets
or Leonard Fournette. San Fran.
Oof. Yeah. It's gonna have to be. I guess it's gonna have to be Knight. Just based on that.
Yeah, I don't want to be playing a running back playing at Buffalo, but in a vacuum, I also would rather.
It's worse in San Francisco.
Yeah. I'd rather play the running back playing the Bills than the running back playing San Fran.
Yeah.
Bam Knight.
Godwin and Bam Knight if you can't play Wilson.
And good job on having Pacheco on your squad.
Yep, nicely done.
And then Greg Z, you got Got KC, Seattle, Tampa, Pittsburgh, LV.
Just
I'd roll
Kansas
with
City.
KC.
Just target Russell Wilson. That's it.
And they got a good playoff schedule, so I'm cool. I'm cool with rolling with KC for the rest of the year if you have KC.
Yep. Yeah, I would just they're a team where I'll just pick them up and just rock with them.
Yo, Iron, I'd sing the song, but I'm not going to. But yes, AJ Brown
got a GM fired today.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That's another piece of news. Not that anything. I don't think there's anything else for us here to cover. But yeah, the Titans fire the general manager 1 day after they watched AJ Brown torch the team. 2 days after, torch his former team.
And that
pretty
wasn't
impressive resume for that guy, though. They don't have any losing seasons, the Titans do, while he was the general manager, and they've made the playoffs, I think, every single year.
Oh, that's all falls out the feet of Derrick Henry, if you ask me.
I mean, but look at what AJ Brown has done this year compared to the Titans wide receivers. I think he's doubled up their touchdowns, and he's been.
And look at back-to-back years, they go out and try to get Julio Jones going, and then Robert Woods going, both coming off of very big injuries for wide receivers, lower body injuries for wide receivers. Yeah. Hasn't been the greatest.
Hasn't materialized. Nope.
Yeah. So, AJ Brown's legit. For anybody who didn't know.
Yeah, breaking news.
Yeah. Dude's awesome. Dude's incredible.
He's
Tony,
very good.
Do I play Dallas rest of season or start targeting another defense? I dropped the Ravens last week for Garrett Wilson. Not sure how I feel about that since by week 14 will play them against me. We would not have advocated dropping the Ravens.
I would have advocated picking up Garrett Wilson, though.
Yes.
Why is he available?
Now, Dallas is absolutely to start this next week against Houston. Right.
Playing Houston. So, yes. Like, so you play them. You can play them against Jacksonville. I probably wouldn't play them against the Eagles, even though they are at home that game. But you could play them the next 2 weeks. I don't know what your situation, though, is though, Tony. Like, are you locked into the playoffs? Do you need to win a playoff game? Like, can we look week by week? Can we look 2 weeks ahead? Like, what is your specific situation? You know?
Yeah.
Like, do you need to clinch a playoff spot this week? I guess I would want to know that and go from there.
But play Dallas this week. I think they have the best matchup this week. So play them this week.
Play Dallas this week.
And good job on picking up Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
But I probably would have advocated you drop somebody else besides the Ravens. But can't do anything about that now. We'll help you get a roadmap going for the rest of the year.
That's the plan.
George Cook with the Kenneth Walker injury, you're stuck picking between Jamal Williams and Dameon Pierce and Mike Evans. All three have big concerns. Jamal doesn't have. I don't think Jamal
Swift had a really good
has
game
big
on
concerns.
Sunday. Swift had a really good game on Sunday.
Played more than 50% of the snaps for the first time pretty much all year.
Yeah. I mean, he had a good statistical day as well.
Yep.
Swift did. At the expense, I guess, of Jamal Williams. What did Jamal have? Like 11 for 25 and a touchdown, something like that.
But he's still getting you touchdowns.
Still usable. Yeah, right. There's a key component to that, and it's the touchdown. Yep. So he's still usable, very much so.
Dameon Pierce. We talked about how he was due to have the best game of the second half of his season thus far, just due to the fact that the matchup that he was playing. And he did well. He did 11 for 73, something like that. Caught several for I think another 25 to 30 yards. Mm-hmm.
I don't have his exact numbers in front. He had a good game. He absolutely had like a solid RB2 day. Yeah, 18 for 73. I think I said 11. 18 for 73. 3 catches, 22 yards. So he gets you 95 scrimmage yards with 3 catches in there. It's a good day.
And with no Brandon Cooks, depending on how that plays out over this next week and then the rest of the year, he could have a slightly higher target floor too. So
yeah, on the road in Dallas though, I would feel very
yes, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd be playing Jamal Williams. I'd be playing Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
And hey, glad we could help you clinch the playoffs. Hopefully this Kenneth Walker injury is only at 1 to 2 week absence. So hopefully come, second week in the fantasy playoffs, you're still alive and you can play Kenneth Walker. But glad we could help you get into the playoffs, man.
That is, ideally, hopefully why we do this shit.
Yep.
That's it.
Hey, yo, Tim, what do y'all think about AJ Dillon going forward?
Bro, I don't even know. I don't know. He's been such a pain in the ass all season, doing next to nothing. Had a great week 1. Had a very good week 1. I won't say great. Had a very good week 1. And then went in the tank until week 12. But,
I mean, to be fair, this offense kind of went into the tank until week 12. Once, now that Christian Watson is scoring a touchdown every week, this offense looks a whole lot better. And now, look, you see a lot of the ancillary pieces, like your A.J. Dillon's, having good weeks. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of because they unlocked the fact that they have Christian Watson.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, he probably opened things up for this offense.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. So, yeah, I mean, he's more viable, or he's, again, the other thing, the other side of that coin is Aaron Jones was, for the, 7th straight week in a row, I don't know if that's correct or not, on the injury report, picked up an injury. He had a shin injury going into the week. He picked up an injury during the game. I think it might have been the same shin injury. Had to exit, so Dillon got in there and got into a bit of a rhythm. Aaron Jones returned to the game, but the Packers scaled him back in that game. That also happened. So if Aaron Jones is... We got to see the injury reports coming in for week 15. The Packers are, of course, on their bye this week. If Aaron Jones is off the injury report, I would still be proceeding with a solid amount of caution on A.J. Dillon. But if there's any indications that Aaron Jones is limited or still affected by the injury, then yeah, Dillon suddenly becomes an interesting part of the conversation as it pertains to your starting lineup.
Yep. And Eric Figueroa, pick one for this week: Hollywood Brown, Gabe Davis, or James Cook. I think you're going Hollywood Brown, man.
Hollywood, yeah.
Yep. Pretty confidently. Like, I like Gabe Davis just as much as the next person, but he is right now he's a high-end wide receiver 3, whereas Hollywood is at least a low-end wide receiver 2 with some upside there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Especially in full PPR, going with those one of those wide receivers. Iron, you have the Cowboys defense. Should you add the Jets? Dallas plays Eagles week 16, and the Jets playing it against the Jags. Yeah, if you can afford to roster 2 defenses and play that matchup game where you know that you have a good matchup for one defense week 15 in week 17, and then another good matchup for a defense in week 16, and you can afford to have both of them on your squad and just lock them up, yeah, solid. It's a strategy that both Nick and I use.
Yep.
Big Trev, full PPR, flex spot, Rachaad White, DPJ, Rondale if he plays, or DJ Chark. I think you're going Rachaad White. After what he did last week.
I think you're going Rachaad White as well.
He's the RB1 in that offense. It isn't Leonard Fournette anymore.
Yes, it's against San Francisco. We do have to keep that in mind, but he's going to catch the ball.
And hey, with Tom Brady throwing the ball 50-plus times a game pretty much, there are going to be targets to be had, especially those short passes that he typically throws to running backs often. You look at what Leonard Fournette did last year in the fantasy playoffs. He was ramping up towards the actual playoffs and catching a ton of passes and performing like a top-tier RB1 over that span. If Rachaad White can do 75% of that over the next couple of games, Rachaad White could be a league winner. Could be. And Alex, you're very welcome.
Sir.
And then... got a kicker question.
Keep Gano or pick up right. Where are the Giants this week? I feel like Gano has tapered off a little
Philly.
bit. Oh, that's right. They're at home against the Eagles. Yeah, that's a tough matchup. That's a tough matchup, but Gano, well, he wasn't great at home when they bottomed out against Detroit. Where's Pittsburgh this week? At home against Baltimore. I mean, Wright is definitely on the recent stretch of better games. The proof is in the literal numbers. So, you could go with Wright at home. Better. I mean, it's a better matchup. Gano has been decent. It depends on how you feel about the Eagles going on the road against a division opponent. And oftentimes teams play their division opponents better than league average, even when there's a discrepancy in talent. So, I guess to that point, they're both in division.
They're
games.
both division.
I would go with Wright.
Yeah, I'd play Wright if I was in your spot.
Yeah, I would go with Wright.
With the way that the Pittsburgh offense is playing, they can move the ball until they get into the red zone. And then what are they forced to do in the red zone? Kick the ball. So, Right. Iron, play Dulcich over Everett. I am in this exact situation, and I am playing Dulcich over Everett.
Yeah, I think I would do that.
There's a chance that Mike Will comes back and just throws a wrench into the target allotment for pretty much every other player involved, not named Keenan Allen. And then Dulcich, yes, he's been up and down, but remember, the week before this past week, he scored a touchdown that was called back. And then this past week, he has, wide receiver yardage, and they said after the game, he's basically playing wide receiver, a wide receiver's role on offense. That's not going to change. So, yeah, Dulcich over Everett. I'm fine with playing him over
City.
Anybody that isn't a top 6 tight end.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have Kelsey, Andrews, Hawkinson, Freiermuth, Schultz, and Kittle, I'm fine with you playing Dulcich. And can you start Jeff Wilson this week? What did Jeff Wilson do last week?
Nothing. Against San Francisco. So
Revenge
we always have to take that with a grain of salt. But he got one carry. That was the thing. One carry for 3 yards.
Raheem Mostert again?
Yeah, but Mostert didn't do anything either. I think he had like 30 total, or 20 to 30 total yards of offense. Dolphins are on the road against the Chargers. It's a great matchup by the numbers. You want to start running backs against the Chargers. I don't know. I gotta maybe wait and see how practice goes first. He got one carry.
Yeah, on 37% of snaps, so even the snap percentages don't tell a different story. So
yeah,
might have to hold off on this one.
Well, yeah, was this just matchup specific? And yeah, in a vacuum, yes, though, because he's going against the Chargers, so he should have a chance.
And
by far his lowest snap percentage since joining the team.
Greg, in your RB2, I would put Isaiah Pacheco. In your flex spot, I would put Rachaad White. And then in your wide receiver 2 spot, I would put DJ Moore.
Yep. Gallup
and you got Gallup.
Well.
Gallup or DJ Moore.
My answers are unchanged.
I think DJ Moore coming off 100 yards and a touchdown the last time we saw him play. Cool with it. Yep. Trey, full PPR. Should I trust Swift versus Minnesota, or do I play Connor versus New England instead? I think the safe play is just to play Connor.
That's the safe play, but Swift did have a good day. Swift had a good day against Minnesota. Let me double check he had a good day against Jacksonville. Swift did see his highest snap count since week 8. For whatever that's worth. might go Swift.
But I mean, you look at what Connor's usage has been the last 3 games that he played: 96, 77, and 97% of snaps.
Yeah, he's on the field all the time.
22 points in half PPR in week 10, week 12, 19.5. Over the last, he hasn't had a game over the last 3 weeks where he hasn't scored a touchdown. I think I just go back to that consistency, knowing that he's coming off a bye and is a little fresher.
Sure, he's a little fresher.
Yes, Swift has been limited due to injuries in a lot of the games that he's played, and he's finally seeing a little bit more of a snap share. But like James Conner's playing 20% more snaps than him if he continues that usage climb. And he's just been great over the last 3 weeks. So I think I just go back to Connor coming off of a bye.
Patriots are a worse matchup by the numbers. So the matchup is not in Connor's favor. He did have a couple of tough matchups where he delivered just a couple of weeks ago. Swift has by the numbers the better matchup by a decent margin. Connor is the safe play. Swift is the upside ceiling play. It depends, I guess, on what you need, Trey. Like if you can play it safe, sure, Connor. But if you, I guess this is my like thought process at this point. If you think you're an underdog, or if you feel like you might be an underdog and you need to take some shots, some swings for the fences, then Swift. Otherwise, I would, then Connor's fine. But it is a tough matchup for him. And
2 of the last 3 weeks, he's been a top 5 running back. I'm just going Connor coming off of a rest week. Over the last 3 weeks, floor of RB 14. I know it's a tough matchup. I think I'm just going back to that. Well, there is nobody in Arizona who's coming to take any touches away from him. They gave away Eno Benjamin. And that it partially is why over the last 3 weeks his snap share is so bulletproof. I think I'm just going Connor because it's safe. The upside is there. Do I like Swift as the player more? Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I'm playing Connor just because I feel more secure in what he can give me on game day.
All right.
He's not going to goose egg me. And he has a similar upside. So I guess we're split there, but I would go Connor, Nick would go Swift.
Yeah. Rico
Baptiste, good to see you. Who should I pick up, Knight or James Cook off waivers? You only have room for one. Knight.
Knight tentatively. Obviously, I would want to see what Michael Carter's status is, but I mean, Knight has looked pretty good the past couple of weeks, and I would have to imagine is closer to being the guy on a week-to-week basis. Now he has to go on the road in Buffalo this week, so that's not going to feel very good.
Hey, last time the Jets played against Buffalo, both of the running backs scored a touchdown.
So there you go. I mean, I would go Knight just because I think he's closer to the number one role.
No Von Miller for the Bills for the foreseeable future. Running back are on the ground is where you win against the Bills, and they're betting on that. They're betting on you not being able to win against the air. So yeah, I think I go Zonovan Knight, and I think he's a solid bet for a touchdown again. I'd predict 70 yards and a touchdown.
There you go.
And Kilo lost one and won another must-win game.
Just reading
surprisingly,
down.
I even won. Losing Lamar and Walker. Wow.
Yeah, if you can get Fields off waivers, do that.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And yeah, good job on having Amon-Ra and A.J. Brown, man. Week winners this week. Hopefully you can stay alive. Hopefully you can stay alive for one more week and make it into the playoffs, man. If you have any questions for us, let us know. Tim Shields, how do you feel about the Chargers playoff schedule? Let me bring that up.
They're at home against Tennessee. They're on the road in Indianapolis, and they're at home against the Rams. I would feel okay about them week 17 against the Rams, but they got to face Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor in back-to-back weeks, and they're a terrible run defense, so I don't feel very good about them.
And they haven't been, the highest scoring defense as is.
Yeah, they did okay last week against the Raiders, but...
outside of last week, You'd have to go back to week 1 to find a good week for them.
I'm looking elsewhere.
Yep.
I'm looking elsewhere.
Senior Rojo, need 2 for the flex. Pacheco, Rashad White. I think that's your answer.
If Mixon's a no-go, sure, play them all. But it sounds like we can have a little bit more optimism about Mixon this week. Pacheco and Rashad White are ahead of James Cook. Yeah.
And Rico, George Pickens had a bad week. Should I pick up Burks for a flex play week 15 or playoff run?
He suffered a concussion. I don't know that he's gonna play.
And I'm willing to go back to Pickens.
Yeah, I'd be willing to go back to Pickens. I think they're playing the Ravens this week. The Ravens are getting. It was a good matchup last week against Atlanta, but at least they're at home this week. The Steelers are. They're playing the Ravens. That is a great matchup for wide receivers. I'll just go back to the well on Pickens. I'm assuming Burks isn't going to play.
And even if I have to choose between Burks and Pickens, I would rather play Pickens.
I don't know who Tennessee's playing this week, but yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, but ultimately, I don't think it's going to matter. Unfortunately.
Yeah, just go back to the well with Pickens. He will have better days ahead.
Yeah,
he's elite. The quarterback isn't. I'm convinced George Pickens is elite. This
he's good.
2022 wide receiver class.
They keep getting better.
The only one that hasn't hit that was somewhere in the top 10 for your dynasty rankings or whatever is Sky Moore. Every other one is hit.
Well, and
London hit early on. Wilson's hitting now. Burks has been pretty good over the last few weeks. Pickens, Christian Watson, Olave, wow. But Tanner Nelson, should I panic with Jeff Wilson? Depends on if he's your RB2 or not.
Yeah, how badly do you need to rely on him?
Yeah.
Am I dropping him for, say, DJ Dallas? No. We got to see. I guess this week against the Chargers, which is a much better matchup than the 49ers, will be more telling. I'm not going to put a ton of stock into any running back, especially having to go play San Francisco when the 49ers are at home.
Yeah.
That is a pretty brutal situation and spot to be in for any running back. So, yeah, it's not great. You hate to see a guy getting just one opportunity. One time he had 2 targets as well. He didn't catch either one. So to have so few opportunities, not ideal. But we can't. I'm not pulling the plug yet.
And can you get to the next question? I gotta run for a hot sec.
Yeah, do your thing. What's going on, D-Lenny? Good to see you. I mean, anybody who's been above average, just keep an eye on the waiver wire, of course. Tony, I don't know that Lamar is droppable yet. It's possible he's back in a couple of weeks. If you have Fields, you might be in a good situation moving forward where you can just fire him up, but I don't want to just automatically rule out Lamar yet. This isn't a Jimmy Garoppolo situation where Jimmy G might return for the NFL playoffs, but his regular season appears to be over. Lamar could still return in the fantasy playoffs. And as far as your last question, Tony, every week for me, it's that order that you have: Higgins, Godwin, Wilson. It's going to be that order. Situation, quarterback, reputation at this point, all that stuff. Wilson looks like he's got wide receiver 1 upside rest of season, but I don't envision a scenario where I'm ranking him over Higgins and Godwin this week, next week, or any week the rest of this season. Most likely.
Yo, all right.
Hey, he's back.
Where we at?
We're so D-Lenny. Actually, I was just getting to D-Lenny. He's calling out. So we love targeting tight ends playing Arizona. just a potential look ahead that, if you're looking for a bottom of the barrel, dirt cheap, nobody's looking at him type of option at tight end, then yes, Hunter Henry does get the Cardinals this week. And if Jacoby Myers can't go, then yeah, sure. But it's bottom of the barrel.
Yes. Yep.
Bottom of the barrel.
And yeah, Dulcich against the Cardinals in the first week of the fantasy playoffs, so keep an eye out for that. Cade Otton against the Cardinals.
Dulcich got dropped, yup.
Cade Otton against the Cardinals, who had a 10-target week this past week.
Yep,
he plays them in the second week of the fantasy playoffs. And then if you wanna stomach it, whoever's, I don't even know who's filling in for Kyle Pitts.
God, pivot.
Because the Falcons
Michael Pruitt caught a touchdown this past week.
All right. Well, then Michael Pruitt in the fantasy championships. If anybody can stomach that, man, props.
Wheels up.
Props. But where were we? Is this the D-Linney Hunter Henry question?
I just got to that. Yeah. So we're at JP, who just became a member yesterday.
Appreciate JP, thanks for becoming a member. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. We'll set up some time to go over your roster.
And then, should you grab Jordan Mason and drop Zonovan Knight?
Because you have McCaffrey.
Considering it's one QB, let us know who the other quarterbacks are out there. I don't think in a one QB league, it's absolutely necessary to have two quarterbacks rostered. So, especially because you can stream options like Jones, Huntley, Tannehill on your wire right now.
Off, hopefully.
Right.
Who I would maybe play over Brady this week against San Francisco on the road. I
want CMC's handcuff. And considering, looking at your roster, you don't have a ton of running backs. Doesn't look like. So, I would do that. I would roster one QB. And then pick up a running back. Pick up Mason. Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. But
thank you again for joining as a member, man.
Yeah, I think JP wanted to maybe do a deeper dive on his roster, so we'll look to schedule something. We'll look to schedule something in the Discord.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not joined in the Discord, JP, it's the second link in the description. So okay.
Oh, cool. He's in there. He's got his membership access. He's got his member channel access.
All right, love to see it.
Yep.
And yeah, I wouldn't, if you have Brady and Daniel Jones and Huntley and Tannehill, they're pretty much all in the same tier.
I don't Goff this week.
If you can get Goff, I would play Goff. But other than that, I'm trying to roster some running back handcuffs if I can.
Yeah.
Should you sell high on Miles Sanders while you can? Is our trade still open?
That's wild.
I'm in one league that I don't think I'm in with you, Nick, where there is no trade deadline. Is this the type of league that you're playing in, Tanner?
That's pretty cool. So Sanders gets the Giants this week, less than ideal, right? They get Dallas week 16, and then I think they get the Giants again week 17. You would think I would know the Eagles' schedule.
No, you get Dallas week 16, New Orleans week 17.
Giants week 14, Bears week 15. That's a great matchup. Dallas week 16, home against this. No, I wouldn't. I would not. I mean, because here's the thing. Like, who are your other running backs? What would you be getting? What would you be getting in return? Like, how deep what is your RB depth, and what are you getting? Because I never want to get rid of or lose running back depth.
Not a running back. No, not running back. So
if you're getting a running back, okay, that's one thing. But you're talking about the starter on one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL, and week 15, the first week of the playoffs, they get a great matchup.
Now,
I'll worry about week 16.
Is this a
week
dynasty
16.
or a keeper question? Because I feel like redraft leagues have shut down trading. And I feel like if you're questioning whether you should sell high on Sanders.
He plays with no trade debt. He plays with no trade debt.
Okay. Well, what kind of league is this?
I guess it looks probably just redraft.
Okay. I've never seen that before. But
yeah, I haven't seen it either. I
it's
wouldn't
redraft,
sell high. I wouldn't sell high on Miles Sanders just because he's in a great situation. He's got a great matchup on paper the first week of the fantasy playoffs. I'll worry about the rest later. I would hold.
And D. Lenny,
I would hold.
I think you're right. I think Cam Akers is probably, and this is an indictment on the rest of the offense, not really a boost for him. He's probably the best player on his offense right now. Yeah, Cam Akers is probably the best player on that team right now. It's not an endorsement of Cam Akers. It's the opposite of the Rams right now. The Rams bereft of talent as it stands right now. It's either Cam Akers or Van Jefferson as for who are the most talented players in that offense. So do I think they're going to be going away from Cam Akers? No. But he could easily have 18 carries and no touchdowns and not be going over 100 yards, get no receiving work because he doesn't get receiving work. That goes to Kyron Williams. And then you're left with the running back who had 18 carries for 60-some yards, giving you 6.8 points. So is he viable? No. Is he somebody that, with my last bench spot, I'm cool with rostering? Yes. Do I expect him to score even one touchdown the rest of the year? If I'm rostering him, I'm hopeful for it, but it's not something I'm willing to plan on. Because you can't trust anybody for the Rams right now to be scoring touchdowns.
It's a little tough.
So is he viable? No. Is he a bench stash? Yes. Wouldn't be playing him if I had a choice, though. And, Tony, you're playing somebody who has Hurts, St. Brown, Lamb, Cook, Pollard, Andrews, and Lockett.
Okay.
Very good team.
Yeah, so you're just... Okay, so you need to clinch? Is that it? You're borderline in. Yeah, so just play Dallas this week, and let's worry about week 15 when the playoff spot is locked up.
Yep, I would agree.
So, yeah.
And Tanner said that is redraft. Fair enough.
There you go.
JP, whoever asked the Swift question, Jamal Williams is 3 touchdowns away from meeting or overtaking Barry Sanders' single-season touchdown record.
Wow.
For
the team?
That's crazy.
Good for him.
Yeah. Now, again, one more game. But still, props that he's anywhere close.
Right. No, they're not going to go away from him.
No. It's been working for him. Put Jamal Williams in on the goal line. He'll score you touchdown. It's kind of been automatic this season. Kilo, follow up on quarterbacks. Fields will be picked up for Carr, and we'll have to scoop up Huntley, Carr, or Goff afterwards. Lamar isn't marked out yet on Yahoo. That's why you need to move over to Sleeper.
Is he already marked out on Sleeper?
I don't know. I'm just saying that if you're still on Yahoo, it doesn't really matter. Move over to Sleeper.
Yeah, it's a good... so the only thing here, Kilo, is like...
He's out. He's listed as out on Sleeper.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're running the risk of running out of options to pick up for this week if you go Fields. I mean, you want to pick up Fields, obviously, but if you need a win this week, he's going to give you he's on bye this week, and I want to make sure I get a good quarterback stream if I need one in a must-win game, so I would want to make sure I get Goff. I guess Goff might fly under the radar. People might look at Carr. They might look at Huntley. Yeah, fine. Pick up Fields, and when Lamar is ruled out, hopefully Goff is still there to pick up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And JP, if you make any changes to your roster, you'd have to drop Jameson Williams, who's in your IR spot. I don't think you're going to be needing Jameson Williams.
Probably.
This goes for most people.
Yeah,
this is
you're
why
not going to need him.
Yeah, it's kind of why I've been saying trade him. Use him as a trade piece, as an add-on trade piece if you had him. For the last 6 weeks, I've been saying that. Because really, even now that he's getting in more work, I mean, 0 points. Put up a goose egg for you if you played him last week. You can't go back to him this week. So if he gives you nothing, then he's droppable. So I think he's droppable. You got a good enough team, JP. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
You don't need him.
You don't need him. You got Christian Watson on your bench. You're fine. You don't need him. You don't need him. Drop him.
He's a guy. He's a play for next year.
Yep.
Yeah, you can drop him.
ATG. Who should I pick up? Just lost Lamar. Mike White, Huntley, Goff, Cousins, Carr. We are all saying, hey, go out and get Cousins. I mean, Carr.
Well, I would say Goff, but with Cousins out there, I think I would say go Cousins.
If you need more than a 1 week play, then Cousins. If you need a 1 week play, then Goff is fine.
I would go Cousins. He's playing the Lions. The Lions are the most favorable matchup for opposing quarterbacks.
Yeah, just go get Cousins.
Go get Cousins. Yeah.
Go get Cousins. Solid swerve. Tanner, how do you think Joe Mixon will do when he gets back to being healthy? He'll continue to be Joe Mixon, but Samaje Perine
he's Joe Mixon.
Has solidified himself as somebody who should be getting work for the rest of the regular season.
I mean, the last time we saw Joe Mixon get through a game fully healthy, he had 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He is firmly back in your lineup. Like he's an RB1. He's a low end RB1. He's low end RB1, mid tier RB1 upside, potential for overall RB1 any given week. While we wouldn't probably predict it any given week, the possibility is there any given week.
And you would have thought him scoring 5 touchdowns means Perine didn't get any work. He got eight touches in that game. Was the RB25 while his teammate scored 5 touchdowns. So, yeah, you want to piece this bad rushing attack. You want to continue to hold on to Samaje Perine for the rest of the year. But when Mixon comes back, he's RB1 candidate.
Yeah.
And ATGD, we would still recommend Goff or Cousins and Cousins over Goff.
Yeah, I don't want to play Daniel Jones against the Eagles.
Nope. I'd be playing Carr over Daniel Jones.
Even at home, I don't want to play Daniel Jones against the Eagles.
Yep. The Modern Dog. Good week to you, too. What's going on, man?
Good week. Hopefully we got these wins, those Romeo dubs.
Absolutely. JP, hey, we really appreciate you, man. Thanks again for joining.
Round 1 is this weekend. Okay. You have the 2nd seed, but you're playing? How many teams make the playoffs? And I would hate starting this week. In fact, I'll go a step further. I would not play in leagues that don't convert or didn't yet convert.
Yeah. Even if it is just like a complete oversight by the commissioner,
right?
That should have kicked in by now, and he should have set something out and saying, "Hey, my bad, we're readjusting." Yeah.
And in that situation, that should have been corrected after last year, because this was a thing that happened last year.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Nobody should be dealing with bye. If the league comes to all 10 of you or 12 of you agree that
talk about it in the offseason, dude.
And we like the challenge and potential randomness of bye weeks, all right, I won't tell you how to do your job or do your business, but yeah, for me, playoffs got to start week 15 when there's no bye weeks to worry about.
As soon as the championship is over, before everybody is checked out until next season, message everybody from your league and say, hey, we need to push this back a week because this ain't fair. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Yeah, because then I'd be at the draft. I'd honestly be drafting because obviously at the draft you're drafting thinking with the playoffs in mind. Of course, it's like, well, shit, I don't know if I want to draft players that play week 14. That's a headache that nobody. Randomness of the bye weeks. That's just playing fantasy football. In the playoffs, everybody should have a full slate of options. Your full arsenal should be available.
Now, Tanner, is there anybody who would at all bite on Jeff Wilson? Because I like having Josh Jacobs and Joe Mixon and Miles Sanders and Isaiah Pacheco and then Perine as the handcuff to Joe Mixon. I like having those 5 running backs. The guy I don't need is Jeff Wilson. So if nobody's a taker on Jeff Wilson, honestly, in a 12-man league, I think I would cut Jeff Wilson. If I needed, if I was looking ahead and saw matchups I can exploit in roster 2 defenses, or matchups I can exploit in roster 2 quarterbacks or something like that, or even 2 tight ends if, Dulcich is out there and you can pick him up for the Arizona week 16, something like that. I'm not trying to get Miles Sanders off of my squad because he's the 3rd best to 4th best guy I have. I'm trying to get that number 6 running back off my roster if I need to make moves. And the Modern Dog, you're riding with Cade Otton at tight end this week. Coming off a 10-target week, there are worse options.
So he's going to go up against San Francisco. That's the only thing. Just like they are the worst matchup for opposing running backs, they are by the numbers the worst matchup for opposing tight ends. I would be careful there.
And
I would be careful there.
Seattle, Miami, Lions. Just looking up teams or players that you can swerve to with good matchups. But anybody playing the Dolphins, Lions, Bucks, Raiders, Falcons, Giants, Vikings, and Patriots, and Seahawks, solid. Just looking to see if there's anybody that corresponds.
Yeah. I would avoid Otton this week. I would. There's got to be another stream in a better matchup. I don't want to mess around with the 49ers, personally.
Who's playing the Falcons this week?
Who are the Falcons playing? Atlanta gets... Oh, crap. They're on bye this week. They play nobody. Maybe Hunter Henry. Screw it. Go
attack
that Cardinals.
Attack
the Cardinals.
I'd play him over.
And you won't have to spend any money. You won't have, or any $5. You won't have to spend a waiver claim on him. You could just add him as you wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
He asked about but there are other questions. We asked about Noah Fant. Noah Fant's getting the Panthers. They're actually not a great matchup, and Fant is volatile.
And Chigozie Okonkwo from Tennessee going up against Jacksonville. I'd play him over Cade Otton this week, but I'd also play Hunter Henry over both of them.
I would roll the dice on Hunter Henry. Just attack the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
I know it doesn't feel great. It feels weird. It's like, why am I picking up Hunter Henry? But the matchup couldn't be better. I would just, when it comes to tight ends, that is like when I'm streaming tight ends, situation over talent. Like for those
ancillary tight ends.
If you can't cover the tight end, teams are going to attack that.
Hunter Henry has 2 top 4 tight end finishes on the year.
So he's not like doing nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
one was 2 weeks ago, so I'm willing to go back to that.
Yeah, Hunter Henry against the Cardinals.
I'm fine. Honestly, if I need a dart throw at tight end for the next 2 weeks, Hunter Henry's not a bad option because he gets Las Vegas in week 15, and Las Vegas is a top 10 matchup to opposing tight ends, to top 6. They give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends.
Yeah.
So more than 10 points on average.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, I'd go with the Hunter Henry if you need a spot start for the next 2 weeks. And TX416, would you guys drop Gus Bus for any of DJ Dallas? No, because he's injured. Judy, Cam Akers, or James Cook? Half PPR league.
What are you more likely to need? Like, could you use a receiver then pick up Judy? Are you a little thin as far as your running back depth? John prefers Cam Akers. I prefer James Cook, just in a vacuum.
It's situational, but yeah.
Yeah, like what? That's the thing. Like, what do you need the most?
Like if you need somebody to start next week, Cam Akers. If you need somebody who you can stash on your bench just in case a Devin Singletary injury happens, and then you got the RB1 for a good team, then James Cook. James Cook has more rest of season upside, but Cam Akers is the starter for an NFL team, and there aren't too many of those.
Yeah, I mean, hell, Judy came back and had a decent week. They're playing the Chiefs. If you need a random wide receiver 3, you could do way worse.
So put your team in the chat.
Yeah.
So that we know how deep you are at the other positions, so we can help you make it.
If you've got anchors at wide receiver, then forget about it. But if you don't, then hey.
Yep. And then ATG, your standard league: DK, Juju, Marquise Brown, Devonta Smith, Mike Williams, Cook, CMC, Swift, and Jamal. Pick your lineup. DK, Devonta Smith, Mike Williams if he's playing, if you go 3 wide receivers deep. If you go 2 wide receivers deep and Mike Williams is playing, then DK and Mike Will. If Mike Will ain't playing, then DK and Devonta Smith is fine. If Mike Will is playing, I'd put Devonta Smith into your flex.
Actually, no, I'm not playing Mike Williams in his potential first week back because you only start 2-2 into flex. It is
2-2 in a flex. Okay.
It's DK, Devonta Smith, McCaffrey, Cook, and Jamal Williams.
Is this is standard? Yeah. So if it's yeah, I'm cool with that. Yep.
Yeah.
And the modern dog, you do have Stevenson.
Are you talking about just Monday night? Yeah, double up on some Monday night players.
Yeah. Stevenson,
it's not,
no Damian Harris.
It's always a little. You get all the feels right when your matchup hinges on the results of Monday night. You spend all Monday like, okay, it's the start of the week, but I got something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yep.
You know.
And JP, sorry to hear that.
I do remember talking through this with you,
I remember that too.
These could be my best friends. It's like if you're stingy on something in fantasy, like you're still vetoing trades and nobody's willing to budge off of that.
It doesn't matter who you're playing with.
Yeah.
If the league isn't fun, it doesn't matter who you're playing with.
Yeah, you could join Reddit leagues. It's relatively easy to go on Reddit threads, like the Reddit fantasy football subreddit. Like people are they'll do startup leagues. It's redraft,
in the middle of the
keeper,
season,
dynasty.
like it's still happening now. You can find a league now. I'm sure if you go on there.
And it'll be competitive and it'll be fun and it'll be worth your time and there will be none of that nonsense, like the immature nonsense that can sometimes come with it.
Honestly, the Reddit leagues that I've joined, everybody is more attentive and active. Yeah, even the most inactive person that I joined in a Reddit league with is more active than half of the people in my home leagues and our home leagues. You might honestly have more fun with fantasy playing with complete strangers.
Yeah, because they're like-minded people in this. Just because they're your friends doesn't mean that they're like-minded in this game.
Right. So yeah, man. I mean, you can still play in those leagues.
I wouldn't.
Maybe try to make some changes. If not, just move on altogether.
Right. Just be like, sorry guys, this ain't personal, but but if this isn't how things start going moving forward, I'm out. I'm done.
Yep.
Like, see you later.
There's a couple of deal breakers there. If there's a bunch of vetoes and all that stuff, I'm not down with that. If there's collusion, I'm definitely out. If nobody in the league is at all attentive or anything, it doesn't make it fun, I'm out. And anything like that, and you can find leagues to join to supplement that you'll have more fun with. So, and then there's also the Facemask Fantasy leagues. Now that you're a member, you can join our leagues.
You can join ours. Yeah.
All of our leagues. I mean, we're in here every week, so
you already know.
Yep. TX416. Here's your team this week. Gino, Debo, Hopkins, Perrine, Gus Bus, Mostert. Yeah, you
need a running back.
You do.
Forget it. Forget Judy. You don't need Judy. You need a running back. I would say Akers because I guess he's closer to being a starter. I just worry about I worry about running backs who aren't their team's clear-cut bell cow after a huge workload, now having to play on a short week. I do worry about that.
And what's Michael Carter's timeline? Do we have that?
It's a low ankle sprain, so it's a shorter timeline turnaround than a high ankle sprain. He could still miss another week, though.
Fair. Yeah.
I guess
I'd be going after Cam Akers.
I'll just caution. I think I agree in this scenario. It looks like you need a guy who I feel like is closer to being the starter. I would just caution a little bit about a guy on a short week after logging a solid snap share and volume 4 days ago, or 4 days before the game.
Yeah. Yep.
But I guess I would pick up Akers.
Good luck. I mean, you got Geno. You waited this long for Hopkins. Like, you got some weapons. It's just Andrews. You got him too. So keep the faith.
Got a lot of guys on.
Yeah, you got JT, Scary Terry, Olave, Montgomery, Fields, Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I mean, do what you got to do to get past this week and keep it moving.
You have Geno and you have Fields. I would drop Watson for Akers.
Yep, I would too.
You might as well keep the hodgepodge options of running backs, just because that is a clear, like, when Taylor is back for you.
In a 1 QB league, there's no reason to roster three quarterbacks.
You have Taylor and Montgomery. Those are your dudes, but, like, if anything happens to any one of them, I want as many running back options as I can have at my disposal. So Akers.
Yeah,
I would drop Watson.
The backup running back to the Bengals probably saved your season a little bit there with Perrine.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm trying to roster as many running backs as I can at the expense of other positions if I can do so. Mm-hmm. And, Joe, I mean, if you have Schultz, you don't need another tight end.
No.
So, no, I don't think he's worth an ad. Because is there any realm in which you're playing Waller over Schultz? No. And if Schultz goes down, even in that eventuality, is Waller viable? I don't know. So I don't think so.
Schultz didn't have a great game in a game where the Cowboys scored 54 points. Schultz
he's a top 6
Schultz
op.
didn't have a huge game, but I mean, you lean on that at this point and let the rest play out. Now, you can drop Cooks if you need a roster spot. It's a lost season for him officially. At this point, I don't know if he plays again. He might just be. This could be the classic veteran on a bad team. Like, oh, my leg hurts.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's Brandon Cooks. I think that's James Cook.
Oh.
I think you just said Cook.
It says Cooks.
Didn't you earlier on though? Weren't you asking Joe about
I
Cooks,
read Cooks.
Cooks and Akers?
Okay. Well,
and you said James Cooks when you asked about Cooks earlier.
So
I think.
All right. Well, it's James Cook, Brandon Cooks. Okay, I thought it was Brandon Cooks. Yeah. All right. I'm not. Okay. Let's move on because I'm not 100% sure there. If it's James
I'm
Cook,
continuing to roll with Schultz, and when he's out, I'm swerving to somebody else other than Waller.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yep. And Durko, what's going on?
What's up, Durko?
Have PPR pick 2 wide receivers for this week. Marquise Brown, Palmer. You have DJ Moore and Ayuk.
Well, let's see what happens with Mike Williams. As far as his availability. I guess Marquise Brown, and I would still play Ayuk over all 3 of these guys.
I would too. Ayuk got 9 targets last week, and it's not like Brock Purdy put up absolutely nothing. 200 plus yards and 2 touchdowns isn't terrible.
In relief too.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't great, but Ayuk still caught 5 balls, and I think this is, he's still very much a really good player on what we can still expect to be a good offense.
Yeah, if Mike Williams comes back and you need to play 2, then I am rolling Ayuk and DJ Moore.
Moore's got a really tough matchup.
Yeah, but I guess you could go Marquise Brown there too, but I'm playing Ayuk.
I guess
between DJ Moore and Marquise Brown.
All right, you have Mike Williams. I guess if Williams is out, I guess you could play Hollywood and, if you're worried about Ayuk, because at the end of the day, this isn't about us. This is about your team. If you are worried about Ayuk, then you can go Hollywood and Palmer. At least Palmer's at home. If Mike Williams is out, if Mike Williams is in, if he's active, then yeah, I actually might do Marquise Brown and DJ Moore, and let's let Mike Williams bake for a week, so to speak. If you're worried about Ayuk, I think I would play Ayuk over DJ Moore, but if you're worried about Ayuk, then you can play DJ Moore. But it is a tough matchup by the numbers.
Yeah.
Just want to call that out.
This is tough because these are all guys that are in the same tier. Brown, Palmer, Moore, and Ayuk. They might be 21, 22, 23, and 24 in our rankings if we add rankings. It is preferential, and it is depending on, if you're down bad or not. If you need the smash play, then DJ Moore and Brown is fine. If you don't need the smash play, I'd be fine playing Ayuk, knowing that he can also have a 2-touchdown game too.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just going to talk around in circles with these guys. I don't really know which way to go in terms of picking two. They're all just right there, sandwiched in this group. Come back to us when we have some more news on Mike Will.
Yeah, that might help a little bit.
I hate to push this off to another stream, but come back when we have some concrete news on Mike Will, and we'll help you out.
Sure.
And do you keep Higbee or Everett? Honestly, I think you want to hold on to both right now.
I actually missed a lot of the. What did Higbee do? He's got a great matchup on Thursday on a short week.
Everett continues to just not do what
Higbee caught 2 balls for 14
we expect.
Yards. Yeah, but he was better than Higbee.
1 week aberration or not?
Well, I'm going back in a couple weeks now because I think didn't Higbee get goose-egged week 12? He did. No, I mean there's been a couple weeks in a row now where Everett has outpaced him. I think I would keep Everett, and it's a great matchup this week by the numbers. Actually, he doesn't have any bad matchups really rest of season.
Everett, no, he doesn't.
Everett. Nah, he plays Miami this week. They're a top 5 matchup for opposing tight ends, like a favorable one. Gerald Everett had 5 catches for 80 yards last week. Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I would keep Everett.
The spike weeks with no Mike Will, you're expecting a few more of them in there, but
yeah, I'll take
what it is.
I'll take Justin Herbert over some combination of Baker Mayfield and Sean
I will
Walford.
too.
I'm going to keep Everett, I think, at this point. I thought Higbee might be a volume target monster, and I guess he still could be, but it hasn't materialized in the 2 weeks since Stafford was essentially ruled out for the season.
And I think I struggle with wanting to hold on to both or not. But with the...
Well, they are what they are. They're streaming tight ends, right?
Yeah, because the only bad matchup for Higbee is week 15. The other matchups are just as good as Everett's. And then if Mike Will is back, then Everett gets knocked down a peg in the pecking order. And then, honestly, I might want Higbee over Everett for the last 2 games of the year, depending. So, honestly... I might want to keep both Tim because none of these guys are slam dunks, and you might be flip-flopping between the two the rest of the year.
If you need a roster spot for this week, I would drop Higbee.
Fair. And I guess Baker Mayfield is never really connected with his tight ends. Wherever he's been.
I'll take the guy who is attached to Justin Herbert if I can only keep one.
Yeah. The Modern Dog, kind of desperate for a wide receiver 3 this week with bye weeks. Options are Corey Davis, Van Jefferson, Devontae Parker, Isaiah Hodgins, Osborne, and Sherfield.
The Jets are playing the Bills. The Rams are playing. I already forgot. Oh, they're playing the Raiders. I might go Van J. I mean, Devontae Parker, I guess a little intriguing if Myers can't go.
I'm going Van Jefferson.
I think I would go Van. He didn't do great this past week. I think he had like 4.5 half PPR points, something like that. So obviously not spectacular, but he did come off of back-to-back weeks where he scored a touchdown. He continues to feel like a guy that you can kind of count on to be at least involved out of necessity.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not going to rely on Isaiah Hodgins after one good game.
Yeah, I'll say Van Jay.
Van Jay.
I'll say Van Jay.
And Durko, you're playing for the first round bye?
Go.
Got you. Yeah.
I would say come
more
back.
in Brown, but come back.
Come back on Saturday or Sunday, whichever is easier for you, and we'll, with a little bit more information as it pertains to practice reports, we can give a more concrete answer.
Yep.
I think. But that's awesome. It's always fun to be playing for the 1 seed. Yeah, cool to know. Yeah, playoffs locked up. Now let's try to get a little bit more.
And in terms of Kadarius, the modern dog, we haven't. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't gotten any news on him, and they did say in week 13 that it's unclear when he'll be able to return to the field. So I don't know if that, he might just be out another week. I haven't heard any news on Kadarius Toney. And he is a guy that has dealt with soft tissue injuries going back to college. So could just be longer for him to get right.
Now hasn't played for 3 weeks. Yeah, they actually, the Kansas City Chiefs actually have some pretty tough matchups as far as wide receivers rest of season. I wouldn't be. And then as far as what does that mean for Sky Moore? There's just not been enough there.
Nope.
There's just not been enough there to warrant, based on the opportunity. There hasn't been enough there.
And Joe, it doesn't have to be your last question. If you have any more, let us know. Full PPR, which 3 players would you guys start? Metcalf,
Yes.
Davis, and
I would play, honestly,
Judy.
I would play Metcalf, DPJ, Judy, I think.
Would you?
I think I would. I mean, Davis could explode any given week, but he's kind of hard to trust right now because it hasn't exactly happened for him. DPJ was the one bright spot for the passing game last. Well, I think Amari Cooper did Didn't he end up catching a touchdown?
Amari Cooper? I don't think so.
Oh, I thought he did.
Maybe he did. Maybe I'm wrong.
He might have. It would have been low production, low numbers.
And yeah, the efficiency hasn't been there for Gabe Davis, but his role has been super solid. I mean, going back to week 8, 7 targets, 5 targets, 10 targets, 7 targets, 5 targets, 7 targets. So he's still getting a decent target floor with a ceiling of 10 targets against the Jets, which is honestly a matchup that might keep it scrappy until the end.
Sure.
I think I'm going Gabe.
I'll say this. I want to play Metcalf, and against Kansas City, which is a good matchup, I want to play Judy. I want to play DPJ if Njoku is out. But if Njoku is back, then I would be fine with playing Gabe.
How did DPJ score his touch? Was that a special teams touchdown last week?
Oh, maybe that's what.
Because I'm seeing 3 for 3, 3 of 3 for 44 scoreless yards and no rushes.
Yeah, he got a return touchdown, didn't he?
Yeah, but so if you look over the last few weeks, Peoples-Jones' usage in where we count the counting stats as far as usage is concerned. I mean,
it was good 2 weeks prior to week 12 was bad. Weeks 10 and 11 were good.
Yeah. But 2 weeks off versus 3 weeks off for Davis.
Yeah.
We believe in the quarterback more.
Yeah.
Matchups just as bad for both of them. I think I go Gabe Davis over Donovan Peoples-Jones until I see Watson put together a good game.
Fair enough. Metcalf and Judy for sure, though, for me.
Yes. So we're split. I would go Gabe. You would go DPJ, but Metcalf and Judy for sure.
I would go Gabe if Njoku is ruled out.
Fair.
which he very well could be because he missed last week with a knee injury.
You would go DPJ if Njoku was ruled out?
Yes.
Yeah. And Elau, thank you very much.
Thanks, Elau. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, much appreciated, man.
Not necessary, but very much appreciated. Go do what you got to do.
And yeah, hey, this stream has gone a little bit slower. Maybe it's because a lot of people are either locked into the playoffs and are cruising into the playoffs. They're fine. Start of the playoff season or holiday season. Yup. There may be just people just aren't in the playoffs, so they don't have a reason to tune in. But if you guys have any more questions for us, let us know. We are, I guess, at the bottom of the chat here. D. Lenny Okonkwo has seen increased targets the past 3 weeks, went 5 for 68 last week, faces Jacksonville this week, which is a soft matchup.
Yeah, and no Traylon Burks, or most likely no Traylon Burks. So
and we got a good video on who is Chiga Okonkwo on the channel. So if you type that into YouTube after this stream, you want to know a little bit more about who Chiga Okonkwo is, check out our video.
Yeah. There is we do have a Chiga Okonkwo video, don't we?
Yep.
How about that?
Hey, Fabian, thanks for chilling with us during the season. If you get bored at all in the off season or whatever, if you have any interest in playing the great game of Dynasty Fantasy Football, which if you play Dynasty, fantasy never sleeps, come back to the channel and
we'll be around
in the halfway through next year or something like that and all that. But thank you.
Sorry you're out. Sorry you're eliminated so soon.
Yeah. But thanks for chilling with us all season, and we'll see you when we see you.
Yeah, appreciate the engagement, appreciate the kind words. Let's turn things around next season.
Absolutely.
How about that?
And I think we skipped JP's question here. How has your guys' leagues been this season? You guys both in the playoffs?
I don't want to talk about it. No, I mean, actually, I do have a pretty good team. One of my dynasty teams I think is pretty strong. That one I feel whatever. I've as good as you possibly can feel, I guess, about a team that you have relative to your own potential expectations. That one's solid. I have a Superflex dynasty team that I decided to kind of revamp and reboot. So that one's not very good, but intentionally not very good. That's okay. My keeper league team, it's like, it is what it is. It's a redraft league. It's 10 teams. It's random. And I'm going to miss the playoffs. I've got 100 points on like the teams that are around me. So like, I know my process was fine this year. It just didn't correlate week to week.
One of those seasons.
What are you going to do? So it's all right. And then actually we have a joint league where we're 8-5 and we're probably going to miss the playoffs. So like
with a good team, it's just,
it's a good team. It's a good team, but it's a dynasty team and the bad teams embraced the suck. So there's a lot of good teams.
Yep.
That's how it goes. There's no use crying over spilt milk,
But again, hey, this is a league that Nick and I co-own, and we
know nobody.
We joined on Reddit, and we don't know anybody. But also, hey, honestly, that makes a lot of the dynamics in between people a lot easier. If you just say, hey, and open up a line of communication with anybody, and I don't know, kind of. And I'm more and more I join these leagues where I don't know anybody. It's they're fun.
It's it's good. Yeah, there's no ties to these. Any potential bias is like out the window.
And you don't feel the losses as hard. You don't feel the wins as hard either. So when you win, it's just like, okay, on to next week.
Oh, sweet, we got to win. If we lose, it's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, I advise anybody out there who wants to get into Dynasty or just is in some crappy leagues to join some.
Check Reddit out.
Yeah. Yep. Find a league on Reddit is the place. But in terms of my leagues, this has been a decent season for me. I think I'm second place in the keep league that we're in.
Are you? I haven't even looked. There you go. Nice.
I think third place in a dynasty league, in a non-superflex dynasty league that we're in.
Oh, you are in second place. You're only 4 points up on third, though, so you do not have a bye week locked up.
Nope. And then in a Superflex Dynasty League I'm in, I'm actively playing to lose. Played to lose last week, playing to lose this week, so I don't make the playoffs because my team thought I was going to be 0-12 and it overperformed, which isn't a bad thing. But yeah, I mean, Dynasty, I'm kind of playing for next year. So still a fun year this year. In 2 out of the 4 leagues I'm in, I guess, I am competitive. And then in one, the league that I'm in with Nick, we're out of the playoffs, it looks like.
Yeah. 8-5, should go 9-5, but there's only one team we can catch.
And there's no way to catch him at this point.
There's no way to catch him at this point. There's only one team we can catch, and I think he's got a cupcake matchup this week.
Yeah. But fun nonetheless, and it's back to the drawing board next season, just like it is for all of us.
How many points? Oh yeah, and we're losing to him by like 50 points. Yeah, we're dead. We're 8-5 and we're dead. How do you like that?
Crazy.
Do we have our first round pick in this league?
In the joint league?
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. Or we have a first round pick.
We don't have ours. We have a. Gotcha.
We don't have ours. We have a. Actually, yeah, and it's actually slightly worse than ours by virtue of points. And that guy.
But we got 2 seconds, so we're good.
We have some capital. We have some toys to play with.
Yeah.
We have some toys to play with.
Calvin Ridley, I'll be shipping him out at some point. D. Linney. Isaiah likely went off in preseason with Huntley throwing him balls.
Yeah.
Huntley is a better passer than Lamar. No.
No.
Likely went 4 of 4 for 33 last week when Huntley stepped in. Hey, we said it all last year.
Likely could
Huntley
be fine.
loves to pass to his tight end.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson was worse passing Mark Andrews the ball than Huntley was last year, but that's because Huntley zeroes in on nobody but the tight end.
He's a backup quarterback. He keys on his top weapons.
Right. So, no, Huntley is not a better passer than Lamar, though.
No, yeah, could likely be a little bit more viable, sure.
But Mark Andrews is still there.
So. Yeah, he's back healthy now.
Yeah.
Although he's been kind of quiet, but
it's about to be boom time.
It could be go time for him.
Yep.
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
And D. Linney could be George Pickens' squeaky wheel rebound week. We will see.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. I would think so. They'll make a point to want to get him the ball. They know he's their best playmaker.
Yeah.
I would think they would know.
Oh, he was apparently screaming on the sideline to get him the ball.
He was pissed. Yeah, he wasn't getting involved. He wasn't, and he felt like he was getting open. Well, he just needs a quarterback, and he'll be set.
Yeah, too bad he doesn't have one, and they're not going to drop one next year. But it's another discussion for another time, I guess. But hey, thank you everybody for chilling with us today. It looks like we are going to shut this down a little bit earlier than usual. Thank you for everybody who subbed. Thanks for all the comments in the chat. Fun chilling. Yeah. If you want to join as a member, if you're interested at all, it is the first link in our description, and we have multiple tiers, one of which is 99 cents for 8 streams a month. So if you're interested in that, for 99 cents, you get 2 extra streams with us a week. But there are other perks in there as well, so you can take a look at that. And if you don't want to join as a member, our Discord is always open, so you can join that. It is the second link in our description, so check that out as well. And the last questions here, likely or Okonkwo?
If those are my choices, I guess Okonkwo.
I would go Okonkwo.
I guess.
I would go Okonkwo because I don't think his role is going to diminish once Lamar comes back, whereas Likely's will.
Yeah.
And Okonkwo, no Burks. Okonkwo.
Yeah. A healthy Mark Andrews and no Treylon Burks, Okonkwo.
Yep. Coming off a TE9 week. Good for him.
Yeah. Yeah,
but,
how about that?
All right, guys. Thank you very much for chilling.
Yeah, appreciate everybody as always.
Yep. And we'll see you guys later.
We'll see you guys later this week. Let's lock up these playoff spots.
Peace, y'all.